Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Many of you have already noticed that Oxford just released the practice test for PAT 2024 and there are 40 multiple choice questions. So now I'm going to show you the solutions to the first 8 multiple choice questions and how to approach each question. Let's start. Question 1. What is the next number in the sequence? Here, we are given 5 fractions, and we need to find the pattern so then we can tell which one will be the 6th number. Let's first look at the numerator of each fraction. We can see that they are all odd numbers, but it doesn't tell us any useful information. So let's look at the denominators. 5, 25, 125, and 3125. We can see that they are all multiple of 5. And 25 equals to 5 times 5, which is the first denominator multiplied by 5. And 125 equals to 25 times 5. So let's assume that the next term should be 125 times 5, which is 625. So let's multiply the numerator and denominator by 5, which will give 15 over 625. The last term, which is 625 multiplied by 5, and that equals to 3125. We have already known the pattern in the denominator, so let's look at the numerator again. Now the numerators become 1, 3, 7, 15, 31, and it's easier to find the pattern. So 3 equals to 1 times 2 plus 1, which is the first numerator times 2 and then plus 1. And 7 equals to the previous numerator 3 times 2 plus 1. 15 equals to 7, which is the previous numerator times 2 plus 1. And the same for 31, that equals to 15 times 2 plus 1. So we can tell that the next numerator should be 31 times 2 plus 1, which should be 63. And the denominator should be 3125 times 5, which is 15,625. Therefore, the answer should be 63 over 15,625. Question 2. We are given dy by dx and boundary conditions. Then we are required to find a definite integral of y with respect to x. To calculate the definite integral, let's find y first. So we separate the variables first. We will have dy equals to x squared plus 1 over x cubed dx. And then we integrate both sides. We are integrating a polynomial, so we can use the reverse of the power rule. X squared can be integrated to x cubed over 3. And then 1 over x cubed can be written as x to the power of minus 3. So it will be integrated to 1 over minus 2, which is the coefficient, times x to the power of minus 2, which is just 1 over x squared. Of course, we need to add a constant c at the end, and then we can determine it by putting the boundary conditions in. So now, we have x cubed over 3 minus 1 over x squared plus c. We know that when x equals to 1, y equals to 0. So we can put that in, and we will have the equation as 0 equals to 1/3 minus half plus c. We will then have 0 equals to c minus 1/6, which means c equals to 1/6. We can now calculate the definite integral of y with respect to dx from 1 to 3, which is x cubed over 3 minus 1 over 2x squared plus 1/6 dx from 1 to 3. Again, here we use the reverse of the power rule, so we will have x to the power of 4 over 12 plus 1 over 2x plus x over 6, and we put 3 and 1 in the result, which will give 81 over 12 plus 1/6 plus 3 over 6 minus 1 over 12 plus half plus 1/6. We have 1 over 6 in both brackets, so they can be cancelled. 3 over 6 can be simplified to half, so that can be cancelled. In the end, we only have 81 over 12 minus 1 over 12, so that will give 80 over 12, which can be simplified to 20 over 3. Question 3. We are given the result of a summation, and then we need to find the upper limit of that. We notice that what's inside the sigma is addition, which means we can split 3 and 2n apart. Now, let's see how many terms are summed up in this question. So we can calculate that number of terms by using the formula m, which is the upper limit, minus 1, which is the lower limit, m plus 1. So we have m terms here. And we find that 3 is independent of n. So the first summation is actually adding m lots of 3's together. And the result is just 3m. The second summation has a factor of 2, so we can put it out. What's left behind is just the summation of n from 1 to m, so we can use the standardized result. That equals to the first term 1 plus the last term m, times how many terms there are, which is m, divided by 2. We have a 2 as a factor in the front, so 2 and 2 can be cancelled. This will give m times 1 plus m as the result. So now we have an equation about m as 3m plus m times 1 plus m equals to 140. Now we can expand the bracket, which will give m squared plus m plus 3m minus 140 equals to 0. We can combine the terms of m, which will give m squared plus 4m minus 140 equals to 0. Now, let's factorize the entire quadratic equation. We have m squared, which can be written as m times m, and then minus 140 can be written as minus 10 times 14. We factorize minus 140 in this way because minus 10 plus 14 equals to 4, which is the coefficient of m term. Now, we can write the quadratic equation in another form, which is m minus 10 times m plus 14 equals to 0. This will give m equals to 10 or m equals to minus 14 as the answer. And we know that m must be a positive integer, so we reject m equals to minus 14. And m equals to 10 is the answer. Question 4. We have a pulley system that consists of 2 fixed pulleys and 2 free pulleys, and its free end is pulled by a distance y, and we need to find out how far will m rise by. To tackle a complicated pulley question, we can count how many strings are going across 3 pulleys. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 strings going across 3 pulleys. This means when the free end is pulled by a distance y, the distance y is shared by 4 strings. We know that the strings should be inextensible, therefore m should rise by y over 4. Question 5. We are given 5 statements, and we need to tell which ones are true. The first statement says oxygen-18 has a larger mass per unit charge than carbon-12. Mass per unit charge can be calculated by nucleon number divided by proton number, which is the top number divided by the bottom number. So oxygen-18 has mass per unit charge as 18 over 8, and carbon-12 has 12 divided by 6, which is 2. And we know that 18 over 8 is bigger than 2, so the first statement is correct. The second statement suggests that nitrogen-14 has more neutrons than carbon-13. So we know that the top number is nucleon numbers, and the bottom number is the proton number. To calculate how many neutrons each nucleus has, we can use the top number minus the bottom number. So nitrogen-14 has 7 neutrons, and carbon has 7 neutrons, which is 13 minus 6. So the statement is wrong. The third statement suggests that oxygen-16 has a larger nuclear charge than nitrogen-15. We know that in a nucleus, the only charged particles are protons, so we just need to look at the proton numbers, which are the numbers at the bottom. So oxygen-16 has 8 protons, and nitrogen-15 has 7 protons. Therefore, the statement is correct. The fourth statement says nitrogen-15 has a larger mass than nitrogen-14. We know that the mass of proton is approximately the same as that of a neutron. So to compare masses of nuclei, we just need to compare the nucleon numbers, which are the numbers on the top. We can see that nitrogen-15 has more nucleons than nitrogen-14, so the statement is true. The last statement says carbon-13 has a larger number of protons than carbon-12. We know that the proton numbers are just the numbers at the bottom, so 6 equals to 6. Therefore, the statement is false. So we have a packet of seeds. When planted, 75 will successfully become plants, and among those plants, only a third will have flowers. So to calculate how many flowers we have, we just need to use 75 multiplied by 1/3. And of these, so that's among these flowers, only 1/5 will produce fruit. So we multiplied 1/5 to find how many fruiting plants there are. The result is 5. So 5 is the correct answer. Question 7. 2 black holes. So I know that some of you may think that it has something to do with astrophysics, but I can tell you that it only has something to do with circular motion. Now, let's read the question. It says 2 black holes orbit each other and emit gravitational waves arising from the periodic nature of their orbit. So we know that it's like a binary system, and they are orbiting each other. The orbital separation is around 10 kilometers. The relative speed of the black holes are close to the speed of light, which is c, and gravitational waves travel at the speed of light. So which of the following would best describe the frequency of the emitted radiation? We haven't covered anything about the gravitational wave in A-level physics, but this question tells us that the gravitational waves are emitted due to the periodic nature of their orbit. Therefore, we know that the frequency of the emitted radiation should be the same as the frequency of the circular motion. Again, we haven't learned how to calculate the frequency of a circular motion, but we know how to calculate the period of a circular motion. First of all, let's draw a diagram. We have 2 black holes, and their separation is 10 kilometers. There is gravitational forces between them, and they are traveling at the speed of light c. Now, let's calculate the orbit period. We know the separation of 2 black holes, which is the diameter between them. Therefore, we can calculate the length of the orbit by using πd. We also know that the speed of each black hole is the speed of light, c. So we can calculate the orbit period by using the length of the orbit divided by the speed of the black hole. So the orbit period equals to 3.14 times 1 times 10 to the power of 4 divided by 3 times 10 to the power of 8. Now, let's look at the options provided by the question. We only need to determine the magnitude of the answer. We don't even need to know one significant figure. So let's do the approximation. Let's say pi equals to 3. So that can be cancelled on the top and the bottom of the fraction. What's left behind is just 10 to the power of minus 4 seconds. Now, let's convert that into frequency. We know that frequency f can be calculated by 1 over period t. So frequency equals to 10 to the power of 4 Hz. Question 8. Fx equals to x squared, and then we need to carry out a series of graph transformations so that it will generate a new graph. The new function gx is stretched by a vertical scale factor of 2, and is symmetrical about x equals to 1, and it is never positive. Let's first consider the symmetry of the graph. Originally, fx is symmetric about x equals to 0, and we want gx to be symmetrical about x equals to 1. So that means we need to shift the graph to the right by 1. Therefore, x minus 1 should replace the original x. It then says the graph is stretched by a vertical scale factor of 2. So we just simply multiply a factor of 2 in front of f. And then it says it's never positive. Looking at the original graph, fx, we know that it is a parabola facing up, so we just need to add a negative sign in front of that. Alright, that's the working for the first 8 questions. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about the following questions. Please click the subscribe button so you won't miss anything important. And also, if you have any questions you would like me to talk about, please comment below. See you in the next video.